Hello everyone, my name is Haneefah Abdulrahman and I am here to tell my story, to tell of my challenges, of my successes, of my pains to becoming. Well, I'll start with giving my biography, a little of who I am. So I'll just give the formal one so that everybody will get to know. I am the chairperson of Kaduna Branch Hilltop Creative Art Foundation, the chairperson of Creative Writers Club. I am a columnist at Daily Trust. I work with Literature Voices as an editor and an interviewer. I work with The Move as an editorial assistant and also interviewer. I was named the Yasmin El-Rufai Artist of the Month in 2020 November edition. I write, I am a podcaster, I act. I am a whole lot of things in the world of arts, so that's why some people call me Goddess of Arts. I am a whole lot of things. I'll start with saying, my dad usually asks this question: how did you become? When did you start becoming? Where did you start that I didn't even know? I'll tell you why he asks all this question. I grew up in Kaduna in a very, how do I put it? In a part where it is all Hausa speaking. Like, it is no place where people really speak English. Most of our neighbors are Hausas. But then because, I don't know, it's inborn, I had it in me naturally to be in love with literature, to be in love with art, to be in love with growing, with becoming, with trying to be independent, with impacting. So I found myself loving my English textbook. It was my favorite because every part where there is a story, I'll grab it and want to read it. In fact, I finished all the story parts in my English textbook before we even get there. So I'm my teacher's favorite because I learned how to speak English, and it was easier. It was easiest for me of all the people to be able to read the passages from the textbook without being taught or asked for. So whenever we want to have a class activity, he'll call me out and say, okay, I know you know it already, so come and read it out so that they'll follow you and read and stuff. So it was, and when I was little, I was very, very, very introverted. I was very introverted. So from home, I didn't have friends around. I relate with people, of course, but I wasn't the type that would say, oh, mommy, I want to go and visit Aisha, or mommy, I want to go and visit Kunle, or something like that. I wasn't just the type. In fact, it was my mom trying to make friends. Why are you always at home? You don't like going anywhere. So when I go to school, I come back to the house. I go on errands. So if I'm not going on errands, I read little stories. I play with my younger ones when I feel like playing. I see a lot of movies. I think it's also part of why I was able to speak. I am able to speak English, and I was able to speak English at that time, even though where I grew up did not really encourage me being able to speak good English. So at this stage, most times when I tell people that I was born and brought up in Kaduna, they don't believe me. In fact, when I tell people that I live in Kaduna alone, without even telling them the story of I was born and brought up there, they don't believe me. In fact, when I got into secondary school, so instead of staying in that area and studying, my dad decided to take me to Kakuri, which is a mixed area for both Christians and Muslims, for mixed schools, and not just an Islamic school or a Christian school. So I remember in JS1 when I spoke Pidgin English for the first time, my classmates were like, wait, everybody keep quiet. Okay, Haneefah, what did you just say? And then I spoke Pidgin. They were like, so you know how to speak Pidgin English? Wow. And I was like, okay. For who, if I even tell you the story of where I am coming from, you won't be asking me this question. So it's surprising sometimes that I always tell people that it's mindset. When you know what you want to do, you don't have to wait for anybody to take cane or to. I grew up in a house where they don't even tell you to go and read your book. They don't. I'm the second daughter of my family. I'm the second born, so I wasn't used to anybody telling me to go and read my book. My mom did not go to school, but I want to say this to the world: she's the smartest person. She's one of the smartest persons I have ever come across. My mom will solve maths. She's a trader. She will solve maths. She'll listen to radio, watch TV, and then she'll grab things from there. But she never went to school. And she wasn't ashamed to learn from us. When she doesn't understand something on TV, she'll ask us. So if somebody does not tell her that she didn't go to school, she's able to adapt to the world she finds herself in. So growing up, I found out that I am so in love with arts. In fact, I wonder, even from tender age, what would I do without art? So when I got into secondary school, there is this club, press club. There they recite news, they do writing, they do drama and all sorts of entertainment, but then nobody took writing seriously. So nobody took poetry writing or short story writing seriously. We were just reading news mostly. We were just reading news and having entertainment like comedy and drama. So I joined the club, and then I was following my seniors up and down whenever they are looking for people to recite news at the assembly ground. They felt, you are small. These people are supposed to recite news from, even the SS1 students are not that good. Haneefah, like, I was so persistent. Every morning I'll go and meet the person in charge. I want to recite news. I want to recite news on the assembly ground today. So at a point they gave up. And the first time I recited, they were like, wow, your voice is loud, it's clear. And then, where did you get that quote from? It's nice. I wrote it. They just looked at me. You know, plagiarism is bad. I said, where did you get that quote from? I said, I wrote it. Because as a child, I did a lot of scribbling. I didn't even know what I was doing was writing. I did a lot of scribbling. So I'll just put down my thoughts. I imagine a lot. So most of my friends call me Enigma, even till date. I do a lot of imaginations. I could see the tree and sometimes start conversing with the tree, and then, well, in secret. And few times that people will catch me, I'll just be like, I'm just thinking aloud. Yeah, that's what I usually say to them. So when I write on paper, I write my thoughts or my imaginations on paper, I tear it off and just throw it away. I didn't know I was writing. All I knew is that I was scribbling. All I knew is that I was just putting my thoughts down to paper because I was introverted. So even these normal childhood games people play, I'm not used to it. I don't even know how to do it. Maybe I don't know how to do 10-10. I don't know how to skip. I don't know how to draw boxes in the ground and start jumping. So even in secondary school, my classmates were thinking I was just being prideful. It's just few people that understood me. When they go out to play during break, I'm always in class. I was that kind of student that will steal my phone to school, and then during break, I don't use it except during break. During break, instead of sitting down bored, I listen to music and read novels and short stories. In primary school, there was even a time because my teacher loves me so much, and then the proprietor of the school also loved me so much. There was a time I was cornered. They bullied me a lot, but I wasn't, for the fact that I am introverted, didn't mean that I was stupid or didn't know what I was doing. I know how to like keep my boundary, and I know how to not to get into the teacher's trap. I only got into teacher's trap very, very few times because right from childhood, I'm just the kind of person that hates embarrassment and hates anything that will make anybody have the right to talk to me the way they are not supposed to. So they had issues with the teachers liking me, the proprietor liking me, and always using me as an example, and always comparing me with them. I understand their pain. Nobody would love to be said that, look at let's say Zuleihat, she's better than you. I understand their pain. So I escaped one day when they tried to bully me. Luckily, all the girls in my class, after closing, they gathered at the part where I go home. So when I saw them, I just ignored them. I was walking. They dragged me back. Where do you think you're going to? So, you are behaving like a witch. They were speaking Hausa. You are behaving like a witch. And everybody loves you. Everybody is trying to... What do you think you are? What? Any small thing, Haneefah? Her uniform is clean. What? What is wrong with you? I was like, you better leave me alone. I'm not afraid of you. Banner just so wrong. Like, they were like, what? Do you see our numbers? And you're alone in this. So at the point, it's just like a movie. At the point when they wanted to start the beating, then the boys in our class showed up. And they chased them away. Because it is a Hausa Islamic setting school. The boys sit differently from the ladies. And then the ladies and the boys don't usually relate like that. Because it is sort of the culture, let's say. So they chased them away, and immediately they chased them. They didn't even stay back to say, Haneefah, I hope they didn't hurt you. They just left, just like, I've done my business and I'm gone. So that instance, I from primary school, I got to know what betrayal is and what trying to live in a community if you're becoming it. Because in as much as that school was all Hausa, we were two that could speak English. That's my mother's friend's daughter and I. But then she chose them over me. She became closer to them. She spoke Hausa. I felt alone. I was alone. Even if they bullied me, she was part of them. So it was painful at first, but then I got to live with it, even as little as I was. The first question I asked her was, even you? And she just gave me this ugly look. Who cares about you? Moreover, I'm also part of people they don't like because of you. Unfortunately, we still attended the same secondary school, and the same thing happened. So when I started with the reading of news at assembly ground, teachers loved me when it comes to art. I was always willing to jump, bring ideas and stuff. And then when it was time for me to write junior WAEC and then graduate to SS class, most of my teachers were disappointed when I say I'm going into the arts. Haneefah, you're intelligent. Why are you going into the arts? And I was ready to defend. What do you mean that as students, the arts belong to the dull people? It is about mindsets. If you see me arguing with my teachers or trying to make a point, like, they'll be like, okay, Haneefah, it's okay. I was like, it's about mindset. If I am passionate about science, there is no way I'll not put all my hard work and everything in science. So it is art. I mean, Sarah was my classmate in secondary school. She's an art student. She was an art student. We graduated together from secondary school as art students. But right now, Sarah is a nurse. And the story is, I think she didn't want art, but then somehow she got into art, and then she got to realize that nursing is what she wants. And then she went back into it. So I was ready to always tell my teachers that it is not about art. Art is not simple. It is what you make of anything. And nobody's saying science is extraordinarily simple, but then it is the same thing as art. It is about your mindset. If I like maths, I'll give my all. I'll feel passionate about solving maths. I'll feel amazing. I'll feel like I'm feeding or growing from solving maths. But if I don't like it, it will tire me off. It's just like doing what is not your hobby. It's just like you don't like cooking, but you're forced to cook. So they were like disappointed. They wanted me in the sciences, but no amount of convincing could get me. They believe that you are so stubborn. I say it's not about being stubborn. It's about knowing what I want and where I want to. So when I got into the art class, If I don't come first, I come second. I was dragging with one of my friends, and we had a really good relationship. That is what I think we call friendship. We didn't think that, okay, because you're first position, we're going to fight. In fact, we joke about it. Say, Bisola, so this time you took first, right? Watch me take first next time. And we just joke about it and leave. In fact, we were the closest in this class. She's one person I'll say never did the jealousy thing or backbiting thing. Even though in every literature class, the literature teacher has a way of always putting me in the limelight, always saying the literary icon. That time, nobody even knows I script, like I didn't even know I was writing. But he saw my passion. He saw it blazing. The flame was just consuming. So he was always praising me on assembly ground, in classes, when he comes to pass announcements, and other teachers too liked me and stuff. So when I became that, I became the president of Press Club, which I joined as just a member. They made me the social prefect and the Dawa Amira of MSS, and I was able to deliver well. So I kept on scribbling. In fact, there was my seniors at that time would come to me, please, and if I didn't see any quote, can you help me scribble a quote? And then in a minute, at some point, I thought this was a superpower, and I just felt like, okay. In a minute, I'll just scribble the quote, and they will like it. And when they recite it on assembly hall, when they read it out on assembly hall, people will like it and give an applaud. So after secondary school, I didn't want to stay at home. At least at that time, my dad has not lost his job. I didn't want to stay at home. I wanted to be in the world. I wanted to experience. I wanted to be able to be without depending on my parents. Not like, I'm not saying they are not worthy of being dependent on. I wanted to build me. I didn't want to always be a burden to them. They never saw me as a burden. In fact, when I told my dad that I want to work, he said, are you like him? You're eating well, you have clothes. Why do you want to work? I said, Daddy, I want to go into the world. I want to learn how to live on my own. I want to be able to experience the world. I don't want to just stay on the good side. I want to know what the bad side is about. I want to know how to live with the bad side and be able to survive in it. He was like, okay. So at first I learned computer. I went to a cyber cafe to learn computer operations. And then after a few months, my house from town was very, very, very far. The place we lived before from town was very, very far. So I got a job. I was able to look for a job myself. The first job I got wasn't even computer-based. The first job was the woman sells phone. She has one of the biggest and finest shop in the plaza. She's Hajia. So when I even went for the interview, she was like, you're small and you are an O-level result holder. I don't take them. And I was like, ma'am, give me a chance to tell you what I can do. Give me a chance to the interview. And then from then you can tell me if you don't want me or not. She was like, your mouth is sharp. Okay, let's give you a try. So we all went. Like, I don't know, sometimes I like taking challenges a lot. At the post office, I saw that only HND or ND or degree certificate holders can go. I was like, I'm going to try my luck. So when I went, we did the interview. She really liked me. She was like, who would believe that you're an O-level holder and you know how to pitch for a job? You are confident. Wow, that's nice. I'm going to keep you. In fact, you might be my PA. So when we started the job the next week, I was the only O-level holder. Because her shop, I wouldn't even call that a shop. It was very big. There's a computer section, there's a phone section, there's a phone repair section. It took a lot of to do the management. So we were 5. The rest were HND holders or ND holders, and then I was the only O-level result holder there. So whenever she wants to go out, she takes me along. She asks me questions. Like she makes me feel like the manager of the place and stuff. So it was very challenging. I got to find out that she's a very toxic person. I didn't tell my dad about it because I wanted to be able to, like I said, survive through the evils of the world. She would tell us to stand. Like we even go to work on Sundays. From morning, 7 a.m. is when we resume, then we close around 7, 8 p.m. And then before you get the bus, go to the house and stuff. So she made us stand from morning to evening, that you're not here to sit down, you're here to stand. So the second day after we got the job, one of us left. That she cannot do it. It's better to be drinking garri and suffering like this. Why would I stand? And then the 3 days after we resumed the work, the other one left. When she called her, she told her that, "Ma, my leg is paining me. In fact, it's swollen. I cannot do this anymore." So 2 out of 5, right? The next week, the other one said she was going to the hospital, that she had ulcer. So she told her that she was going to the hospital. So the woman was like, "Okay, you can only go to the hospital today, but tomorrow you have to resume work." So when she didn't come the next day, we all tried to call her. She didn't pick up her phone. That is how we didn't know anything about her anymore. 3 has gone. So it was just me and Aisha that were remaining. So we were able to just manage through. She was paying me 13,000 naira and she was paying Aisha 20,000 naira with no transport fare or feeding, just a monthly. And then imagine me taking transport fare to my house. And when I even told my dad, he was like, "Okay, consider the transport fare." Now I was like, "Daddy, do you know what we're going to do? You're going to be giving me the transport fare. Then when I collect the salary, I'll calculate it and give it to you. I want to know how to survive." He said, "No, you don't need to give it back to me." I said, "No, I want to give it to you." He was like, "Okay, I respect your decision. It's fine. I like the fact that you're taking initiative, even as you are." So when I worked there, feeding was an issue. I didn't want to let my dad know because I wanted to train myself. Transportation, the standing. I never even told my dad that we were standing from morning to evening because I know that one would just break him. But must you walk? Because I know he'll be like, "Must you walk?" So when, like 2 weeks after I resumed work, or a week and a half, she told us that she sacked all her previous workers because she caught them gossiping about her. So she told us rules of, you can't gossip about me, you can't do this, you always stand, you can't watch TV, you can only put it on and reduce the volume. She just gave us rules like that. You must come to work on Sundays, and we said it was okay. So it was only me and Aisha remaining. So she noticed some missing power banks, really expensive power banks in her stocks. So she was suspecting one of the workers, which she usually take home to help her cook. So she took me there and then got the girl arrested. So the girl confessed that it was her niece that helped her steal the power banks. So her niece at that time, she was just, was it 16 or 17 years old? She arrested the niece too and put her to sleep in the police cell till the next day. So that day, because of the police issue, arresting, going to the ladies, it was very late. So it was around 9 p.m. and she was like, "Will you be able to go home?" I said, "Yes, I'll be able to go home. It's not a problem." So she insisted that I stayed at her place. I called my dad. My dad was like, "Do you trust her?" I was like, "She's okay." So I gave him the phone to speak to her. She spoke to her and he was now asking me in my tribe, "Do you trust her? I don't know her. You should just come home." I was like, "Daddy, she's insisting. Don't worry, she's okay." So that night, we got into her room. She got me food. So from the same plate of food, she fetched for her dog. Me not eating like since morning, following her up and down. And then she got me a plate of food and had to share that same plate of food with the dog. She could easily get another plate for the dog. So I didn't take it as anything until after I left there and I was telling my mom the story, and she was like, really? She gave you a food, you share the same food with a dog? Like, no, it's not as if we ate it the same time, she just fetched from it. My mom was like, even at that, it's somehow. So the first thing she asked me when we got into the house was like, do you have a boyfriend? And I'm just the kind of, because of my introverted or enigmatic nature, I don't answer some sort of questions. I was like, ma, I'd rather not answer that. She was like, are you shy? She was giving me this attitude. I was like, I'm okay. So when she told me to sleep in her room, I was like, oh, she doesn't have a problem. And I just told her that, ma, I'm okay with the spare room because I'll need to do some things like operate my phone and I don't want to disturb you. And then some things. She was like, okay, no problem. So from there, she just had a way of always taking me home from the office and asking me to cook for her. It's more like doing an extra job, asking me to cook for her or something. And then we'll cook, but she won't give her niece food to eat. She, you know, all these toxic people that can make outsiders believe that they are the most amazing people. But then in the inside, they are really wicked. That's the kind of person she is. I'll never believe if anybody told me any wrong about her. I'm a very observant person. She had a way of trying to make it seem like she's a victim, but I was able to observe it. There was a day the niece even cooked in the morning. She threw it away. That rather than her eating her food, she rather threw it away. She threw it away. Like, she always had a way of taking me to her house and making me cook, and it's getting late and then sleep. So there was a day she followed me to the house and she told my dad that, okay, she doesn't want me to be coming home at night, it's dangerous and stuff. So she'll maybe like for me to stay there some days that we are late, and then mostly weekend I'll be coming home. So for me to tell my dad the first day that I trust her, he usually trusts my words, he was like, okay, but you want to know where she lives. So he followed her to her house that day. Imagine somebody having a sitting room and 2 bedrooms and taking the TV to her room because she doesn't want her niece to watch TV. God, who does that? And it's not as if she's usually always around. So whenever she's traveling, she'll put me in charge and say, you can watch TV, but make sure you don't allow Rahama to watch the TV. God, I'm not wicked. So whenever she just goes out, so I will just go into the room. She doesn't even care that they've given the rule. And she'll be like, please don't tell us. It's okay, I'll allow you. You can watch TV. In fact, I'll be bored alone watching TV. And then we'll watch the TV together. So when she comes, the first thing she usually asks, hope Rahama did not watch TV. No, she didn't watch TV. So the girl felt my presence in the house. She felt like she had somebody she could talk to, she could lean her head on. The first time I asked her, why are you not making your hair? And your hair is kinky. It seems to be giving you so much pain. She was like, her auntie said she cannot be paying for her hair dressing, so she has to barb the hair. The girl does not have shoes to wear. So while I was living there, there was a day she traveled and she left me and Rahma. Okay, I didn't know she was going to travel that day. She left the office before us. So I went home instead of going to her house. Because normally, any day I feel like I want to go home, there's no need to go there, I'll just go home. So after the weekend, she asked me why she didn't meet me in the house on Monday. I was like, I didn't go to the house. She said, but I told you I was traveling. I said, oh, I didn't know you said you were traveling. I thought you said you were just going out. So after we closed, Rahama and I and her were in the car. She now asked Rahama that, did you watch TV? Because I know Haneefah was not around and nobody was in the house but you. So did you watch TV? Rahama was like, no, she didn't watch TV. She was like, okay, she's going to call DSTV and ask if they watch TV. If somebody watched TV, so did. So I was giving her this thing that insist on no. But the girl, the woman has got into the girl's mental space so bad that she thinks like a baby. She behaves like a baby. You have to cuddle her and teach her things. But she was too afraid to insist that she didn't watch TV. So she said yes. So when she said yes, so you dare watch TV when I told you not to watch TV? So she looked at me and was like, Haneefah, when we get to the house, you're going to grind pepper. I'm going to give you razor blade to tear her body and put the pepper in the wounds. I was like, Ma. Before I could even say the please, she gave me a very dirty slap. I looked at her, and what was running in my head, like, I can't remember the last time my father or my mother or anybody raised his or her hand on me. I mean, I didn't even do anything wrong. You're asking me to cut a human being's body, and me that cannot even stand blood, and put pepper. I'm trying to beg you and you slapped me. Throughout the ride, I was just giving this expression. I didn't know what to do. I was confused, and I didn't want to let my dad know. So when we got to the house, she asked me to prepare something, because I was planning that, okay, after I just dropped the stuff, I'm going home. She was like, I should help her prepare something, that her boyfriend loves my food and stuffs, and I should just help her prepare the food. So when I was preparing it, I was just giving this face of, I'm hurting. So she was like, why are you giving this expression? Is it because of what happened the other time? It's fine. You know how psychopaths behave. It's fine now. I'm sorry. It's not like that. She now went out, got me yogurt. I was thinking in my head that this woman must think I'm stupid. I accepted the gift, but she must think I'm very, very stupid. But she doesn't know that I know what I'm doing. My story is lengthy. I usually say my life is an unending novel. So, see you in the next episode. We can't finish it here. We'll keep having the episodes. Thank you.